So, how do you fix a $2 billion trade gap between two countries? It sounds like a massive, complicated problem for economists and diplomats to solve over years and years. But today, we're going to look at a story where the solution was surprisingly down to earth and direct. It was all about building a bridge, a trade bridge.
Okay, so let's set the stage here. To really get why the solution was so clever, you first have to understand the incredible scale of the problem that Bangladesh and Brazil were facing.
I mean, just look at these numbers from 2022. Brazil sold a whopping $2.35 billion worth of stuff to Bangladesh. But in return, Bangladesh sold just $178 million worth back to Brazil. As you can see on the chart, this isn't just a little gap. It's a canyon.
To put a number on it, that works out to a 13-to-1 disparity. Think about that for a second. For every $13 of goods flowing one way, from Brazil to Bangladesh, only a single dollar was going back. This wasn't a small imbalance. This was a massive structural chasm.
Which brings up the big question, right? When the numbers are that lopsided, where do you even start? You can't just make small tweaks here and there. You need a bold strategy to fundamentally change the whole game. And that brings us to the really cool part, the solution. Instead of getting bogged down in endless policy talks, the organizers decided to build something real, something tangible that would physically connect businesses from both countries. And here it is, the star of our show, the Made in Bangladesh Expo 2025. This event, put together by the Brazil-Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the BBCCI, had a simple idea: bring the best of Bangladesh directly to São Paulo, the commercial heart of Brazil.
But look, this was way more than just another trade show. The whole idea behind it was something they called trade bridge building. In international business, trust is absolutely everything, but it can take ages to build. This expo was basically designed to be a shortcut, a way to fast-track that trust by getting buyers and sellers in the same room to turn vague interest into actual concrete deals.
And the goals here were crystal clear, no fluff. This was all about promoting Bangladeshi products, helping them find new markets, and, this is key, making it easier for two-way trade to happen. Right from the start, this whole thing was designed for action, not just ceremony.
So, what was the secret sauce? Why was this approach so darn effective? Well, it wasn't just about showing up. There was a really smart, multi-layered strategy at play here. It really boiled down to three key things. First, this was the first major Bangladeshi trade expo in Latin America. That gave them a huge first-mover advantage and tons of visibility. Second, by getting the chambers of commerce and diplomats involved, they created this high-trust environment, which is so crucial when you're dealing with new suppliers. And third, it took the idea of market diversification from being a buzzword on a PowerPoint slide and made it a practical reality.
And this, right here, this is the really genius part of the strategy. This was not a one-way sales pitch. The expo was designed to show what Bangladesh could offer, things like their famous ready-made garments or RMG, jute, pharmaceuticals, but it was also about what Brazil is amazing at, like agricultural goods. So it framed the whole event as a conversation about a two-way street, about how they could help each other. Okay, great strategy, great idea, but did it actually work? At the end of the day, it's all about whether those handshakes turned into actual business. So let's look at the results.
And the answer is a big yes. We're not talking about vague promises here. The expo generated real commercial activity. We're talking specific talks about distribution, formal business-to-business meetings to hash out partnerships, even preliminary agreements getting signed right there on the floor. Heck, they even kicked off talks for joint ventures. And here's the best part. It was a total win-win. Well, a win-win-win, really. For the Bangladeshi exporters, it was an incredible shortcut to building trust and lining up a pipeline of new leads. For the Brazilian importers, it made it way cheaper and easier to find new, vetted suppliers. And the long-term impact? They now have a proven, repeatable model, a real trade corridor for future growth. So, when you step back and look at the whole story, the problem, the clever solution, and the results, what's the big takeaway? What does this little experiment teach us about how global trade actually works today?
It all comes down to this one powerful idea. Growing trade isn't just about signing big treaties or having a policy ambition. It's a relationship and execution game. It's about people connecting with other people, building that trust, and then actually following through. And that's the real legacy of this expo. It's not about one single contract that got signed. It's the fact that they built a durable pipeline for future business. It's that they gave Bangladeshi companies the confidence to dive into a whole new market. And it's the proof that this model actually works and can be used again.
Which leaves us with one final, really interesting question, doesn't it? This practical relationship-first model worked wonders for Bangladesh and Brazil. So, where else in the world could a simple trade bridge be the key to unlocking billions in untapped economic potential?